Hello and welcome to another episode on Paving the Way podcast. Once again, I'm Seth Amoa, aka SA. I'm here with Kenny Jean-Louis, aka KJL. And today we're here with someone who's a former Cheetah, a former Stinger. When you talk about Montreal basketball, Quebec basketball, his name definitely comes to mind. We'll talk more about it more into the interview. Once again, give it up for Damian Buckley.
Thank you. Thank you.
Merci d'avoir accepté l'interview. On t'a envoyé un message puis directement t'as dit que tu étais partant. So, je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de personnes qui vont apprendre cette interview-là. Joueurs, coach, trainer. So, merci encore d'avoir accepté l'interview.
Bienvenue.
Okay, so the first question that we always ask everyone, when the passion for basketball started for you?
For me, basically, it's funny. I watched the interview that you guys did with Negus McKenna, and we grew up in the same area in NDG. We went to the same school. So for me, it was basically growing up in NDG. I grew up on a street called Walkley, which was very popular at that time for basketball. All the kids, we used to walk up Walkley and down the street, and as we trickled down the street, all the kids would start following us to the center, which we call Loyola Center, which was on Summerled Street, which is a street in NDG, and that's where they opened up the gym to us. It was a French high school, and they opened up the gym to us after schools, and I mean, we used to spend hours there. We used to have something called Monday leagues, Sunday leagues. Tuesday we would have practice. We'll play floor hockey there. On Friday nights they'll have weekly sleepovers, so we'll be playing basketball all the way till midnight, then sleep over there, and then go home in the morning. So I think at the age of around 12 is when I really started to go to that center, and I really fell in love with the sport because that's what everyone was doing at that time.
Mm-hmm. You said you grew up with Negus McKenna and went to the same school, Wager.
Yeah.
So I want to know, so what made you decide to, I know you played at Sun Youth also.
Yeah.
Was it because all your friends were going to go play at Sun Youth, or what made you go to Sun Youth and play there?
Yeah, for me, it was, all the, what we call the inner city kids in that sort of English Montreal community. So NDG, mainly NDG. We all, traveled at Atlanta Sun Youth because we had, it just started with one friend that got reached out to by some of the Sun Youth coaches and went on to play there. And one day, one of my good friends, you guys may know him, Fareed Charles, he just asked me to come out to one of the tryouts. I went out with me and my brother. We made the team, and the rest was history. And the good thing about that is my high school coach, his name is Robert Ferguson, was also the coach at Sun Youth at that time. So he was coaching us for high school and at Sun Youth.
Okay. You just talked about your brother. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with your brother? I see you guys played together at Vanier, at Concordia. So just talk a little bit about your relationship with him.
Yeah, well, my brother Dwayne Buckley is. I know you guys can think of people that you spend the most time with in your life.
Yeah.
For me, that's my older brother Dwayne Buckley. We're a year and a few months apart. So we always played on teams together. And the good thing for me with my brother was that I always tattled behind him. So like I rarely had friends with kids in my age group. I always went up and played with him and chilled with him. So everything he was doing, I was doing. So I always got to play older guys from a young age. So that experience alone helped me develop as a player and become the player I am today.
Of course, Sun Youth, you guys were phenomenal. You guys were really good. And you guys really put, I think a lot of Sun Youth success has to do with you guys, winning banners and championships year after year. At what point during your Sun Youth, I guess, moments did you know, or you know what, I think I want to play at the next level?
I believe, honestly, once I reached the midget category, Once I reached midget, there's a coach name at Sun Youth, Jim Sacarel Apologist, whatever his last name is, Jim S, who really taught us the game, really from all the details. So once we went through Jim, once I went through Jim, I realized that, hey, I have an IQ for this game, I have a mind for this game, I have a determination for this game, and like I just loved playing all the time, and he really helped me get out that passion that I have for the game. So I think my 2 years at midget at Sun Youth, I believe when I was around 14, 15, is really when I decided that basketball is what I want to do in the future.
Okay. At that time, what type of workout were you doing, like during the summer or during the year? Like, what were you doing, I guess, to get better?
Yeah, that's a funny one. Nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, no kind of workouts, no ball handling and stuff. It's just us. What we did was we just went out and played in the park. We definitely there was no trainers, there were no skilled trainers at that time. We just went outside and we played basketball on the courts all day. And a unique part with my situation was I have family in Brooklyn, New York. So me and my brother growing up as a kid, we always spent a good portion of our summers in New York City, in Brooklyn. And our cousin always used to bring us to the courts over there. And that's, I think, where I developed my ball handling, playing in the streets of New York for, those 5 to 6 years as a teenager. I think it was more that than anything else where I really developed a lot of my talent.
And I know after Sun Youth, you went on and went to Vanier with your brother. Can you tell us, is there a reason why you chose to go to Vanier and not another CJEP?
I just follow after my brother. To be honest, like that's, he was at Vanier before me. I went to Vanier. I know his first year at Vanier, when I was still in high school, he actually got cut from that AAA team. So he ended up coming back and playing at Sun Youth for a final year. But, wherever at that point in my life, it was just always what Big Brother is doing, I'm just going to do. I know we were living in the West Island at that time. We moved there in 2000. John Abbott was recruiting me. I had a little, talk with John DeAngelis, because that was my first choice coming out of Sun Youth, that I wanted to go to Champlain. I went to see a lot of those CJIP games, Champlain versus Dawson. I was just appalled by the way how John DeAngelis ran his program, and some of the players that were there. I know like Chad Catterson was there, and a lot of great players. So I always liked the vibe there at Champlain. So
why don't you go there?
The biggest reason why we went there, I didn't go there, was I had a conversation with John, with JD, and basically I lived deep in the West Island, Pierrefonds, and to get down to Champlain every day would at least take me 2.5 hours there and back at least. So we had a mutual talk about that it's not that he doesn't want to recruit me. It's just that it wouldn't be fair to me at that point in time to attend Champlain because the distance that I lived from there.
Okay. And how was your first year and your relationship with Andy at that time?
My first year, my relationship with Andy is great. Seth, you can attest to this. Andy is more than a great coach. He's a great person. He cares about his players. Andy taught me a lot about life. He still teaches me a lot about life. Any, information, any problems I have, I can always dial Andy's number, and he'll always pick up and give it to me. So, Andy was great on and off the floor. I know he was just starting at the AAA level when we started to come out. he basically put the ball in my hands and says, Damian, go do what you need to do. And we definitely enjoyed ourselves. We definitely had a good team. We fell short from a championship in our years there, but we went into nationals as a wild card one year, and we had a lot of success in some of the tournaments we went to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I just want you to, what does it take to be a CJ player of, like, I guess, on the court and off the court? If you could, elaborate a little more on that.
A CJ player?
Yeah. Well, college and yeah.
Yeah. So I would say focus, time management, stuff like that would be the main thing. You'd have to have some kind of dedication to the game more than high school. I think that was one of my toughest transition, going from high school and even Sun Youth, transitioning to playing at Vanier. I mean, I told Andy this story. I told him after my second practice there, and it was mostly just running outside and bricks and all that kind of stuff. I sat in the locker room and I looked down at the floor and I said, I can't do this. Like I felt honestly after that, second practice that this is just too much for me. The running, the defensive slides, the weight room, it just went up a huge notch from high school. And we were very spoiled at Sun Youth and Wager because we were just so talented. Like it didn't matter who scored the ball. We had always out of the top 10 players in the league, we always had 7, 8 of them on our team. So everything came easy. And when I went to Vanier, Andy really got us ready for the real world. You're playing against guys 2-3 years older than you, and you got to be ready to go. So that preparation process really was tough for me.
Okay. And how long would you say it took you to adjust to the game? Like at first, were you, I guess, not playing, and then midway to the first year, you were starting? Like, can you tell us about?
No, for me, I was the guy right away. I came in again. This was sort of Andy's first year's coaching, so he had some AA guys that he brought up from when he was coaching AA. Yeah. And I was coming in as one of the top point guards coming out of high school. So like I said, Andy gave me the ball in my hand, and again, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I did positive on the floor, but there was a lot of things that I could have done better, and it's just being a rookie. It's just being a first year guy. You think you know it all. You think you're the best player. And there's so much other intangibles to the game that Andy really taught me.
I know after Vanier you went to Concordia, but is there a reason why you chose to stay in Montreal, or why you didn't pursue to go play outside of Quebec?
This is a long story. Basically, coming out of Vanier, I believe that last year I was the most valuable player in the league, and that league was very talented with Maurice Joseph and Negus McKenna and those guys at Champlain, Pierre-Marie Cespedes, Jeff Desato, Chris Warner, and I actually won MVP that year, and that was my second year of being all Canadian. But me, it was really a situation before that. In high school, where back in those days, you needed your core classes in high school, which would become an average, and then you need a SAT score to match it to be able to clear for Division I, which I did not. And for me, there was a couple mistakes I made. In elementary, I went to school in English. I did not know a word of French except bonjour and oui. And my parents put me into French immersion in high school. So I had to do everything in French, math in French. So my grades really dipped as far as that's concerned in high school. And by that time, after I finished at Vanier in my third year, I actually went back to high school to get better grades, which I've done. but that year off, a lot of Division I teams started to lose interest. And after not playing for a year, they lost a lot of interest. I ended up signing to a Division II school in Florida, Vanier College, and basically a week before school, I just decided, my dream was to play Division I basketball, and it didn't happen. So let me tag along with my brother at a Concordia University, and the schedule there, was we're playing Duke, we're playing UConn, we're playing Maryland, all these big time schools. So that helped the decision too.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for? I guess you just talk about your journey. You have any advice for maybe French guy in high school, or even English guy, that maybe they should do their ACT right after high school and not maybe wait until the second year or third year?
Yeah, I think now there's a lot more resources for that. I think there's a lot more people who understand the NCAA procedures and how to clear and what the best route is if that's what you want to do. So my only advice for kids, English or French, is seek out the resources. Seek out people who understand the procedures, understand the clearinghouse, understand the system for the NCAA, to make sure that you have all your core classes, to make sure you understand when you should take your SATs, when you should start prepping for your SATs. So it's just really get out there and seek the knowledge, for sure.
At Concordia, obviously you had a very amazing career there. Really good memories. Can you name, I guess, what the impact that John Doerr may have on you as head coaching you there?
Yeah, John Doerr really was a third father. I think I had a father, then Andy was my second. I think John Doerr was my third. My situation in my first year was that I was going to school. My son was born that first year. So my first year at university, I was going to school. I had basketball, which is a full-time job, and I had my family, young family. So John was really helpful in a lot of situations with me. He was very understanding in my situation. It wasn't easy. Sometimes I had to work to pay the bills. I don't know if you guys realized back then in what was called the CIS, which is now youth sport, you did not receive scholarships, right? So I got to work to pay for school. I had to take care of my young family. I had to go out there and score 30, make sure we win. So there was a lot of pressure on me, and definitely John Doerr helped ease some of that pressure. Just how he coached me. He always brought me in the office, talked to me, always was asking if I was okay, if I needed anything, if I needed help. So John definitely was one of those father figures in my journey at Concordia.
Well, for sure, like you just said, you're like having a young family, and it's a full-time job both on and off the court. A lot of players would have just quit basketball and just decided to, I got to do what's right for priorities, but then with you stuck it through. Can you walk us through how you're going through that during that time, and how, I guess, I'm sure your brother had a big impact in your life around that too. So can you just talk about that a little more?
Yeah. So again, for me, quitting wasn't an option at all. I was always going to push through. I've been through a lot in my life before that. Years before, in the year 2000, I got into a big car accident coming back from a AU trip with Sun Youth, and me and my brother was in the van. Nathan Grant was in the van. Fareed Charles was in the van, and I went through that experience then, and from there I was out from playing for probably like 2 months, and that point in my life was the hardest in terms of the thing I did for as a youth every day I cannot do anymore. so from there, my mentality was always, I just want to, play as much as possible. No matter how hard it gets, I'm always going to push through. So for me, it was a no-brainer that I wasn't going to quit. I was always going to have basketball a part of my life. So, it was tough, but I did what I had to do, and I managed to get through.
Okay. You said that your first year at Vanier, Andy gave you the ball. Did your first year at Concordia, John Doerr give you the ball, or it was I guess maybe a harder transition?
It was a harder transition because I don't know if you know the team before, the year before, my brother was on that team. Actually, just came from losing in a national championship game to Carleton, right? So you have the second ranked team in Canada, and they lost their starting point guard. But every time you have that kind of national success, there's guys behind waiting to assume that role, and again, I was on cloud nine. Yes, the all Canadian point guards leaving. They just lost a national championship game. I'm the CJIP MVP. I'm going to come in and we're going to get back to the national championship. In my head, that's what I thought was going to happen. And again, I coming out, I did not start. It's probably my first time in my career I did not start. And it took me a while, probably a few months before I actually mid-season where I took that starting position. And then from there, it was just a go.
I want to know, is there after ball, so after Concordia was done, did you know what you want to do after Concordia was done, or did you already have everything planned out? How were you going about it?
No, at that point I did not know. I knew I wanted to play professional basketball. My last year there, I actually left a year early to try to pursue a professional career. That at that time, and I know Nigas touched upon this, it was very tough. The market was very tough to get a job overseas. There was not much happening in Canada as far as playing pro or semi-pro. So that didn't work out for me. It really didn't work out for me. And then, from that year until 2013, so 2009 to 2013, I basically, just started working, taking care of my young family. And, then that took me into, playing a year of professional basketball for the Montreal Jazz, which came back in 2013-14, I believe. And then from there, I just went on to coaching. So I knew I wanted to play pro, but it just doesn't happen like that. And a lot of kids, are out there, I want to play pro. I want to play pro. It's there's a lot of bodies trying to get those jobs, and it's very competitive, and you got to put in the work and understand that it's a business.
Yeah. Before we start talking about, I guess, your coaching career, can you just maybe tell us what was your best game at Concordia, or maybe also your best teammate, other than maybe your brother? So best game and best teammate that you play with.
Best game. I would say my best game, I would have to go with, it was at Concordia University against Illinois University. They came here. That's when Jordan's son was playing on the team, and there was a lot of hype. And, they came in our gym, and I think I scored around 20 in the first half, and my brother scored 20 in the second half. We ended up with 26 and 25, and we took the W. That I think that was my best game, just in terms of the magnitude of what that did for us and for my psyche in general. I always wanted to play Division I basketball, didn't get that opportunity, and to be able to come out and beat a team that is relatively known amongst the basketball enthusiasts, that I played a significant part in winning that game. So I would have to go with Illinois.
Okay.
And teammate.
Oh, my best teammate, my favorite teammate, other than my brother. I would have to go with Pat Perrott And second to him would have to be, or third, if my brother's there, is Evans Laroche. I played a year with Evans Laroche, and he knows he saved my behind on some big free throws that I just went to the line and choked. And he came back and he finished the game against UCAM, and that was a freshman year, so I would have to go with him as a close second.
How many titles that you guys won during your 4 years, or you guys didn't?
We won 2 titles at Concordia. I won 2 titles. Yeah.
So did you always know that you wanted to coach later, or was that something?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Never. I always thought I was gonna, like you guys know, like as a youth, I'm gonna make the NBA. I'm gonna play pro. I'm gonna do all these things. Absolutely not. Honestly, what got me into coaching was my son was growing up, and by that time he was, probably around 8, 9. Then Rodney Scared, who runs the Sun Youth program, just asked me to bring him out, on the team. So he went that first year and he played, and then Rodney said, why don't you coach the team next year? And I said, I'm at all the practices. I know a bit about basketball. Might as well just coach. Yeah. So I started coaching that 1 year with novice at Sun Youth. And then the next year I coached Bantam Sun Youth and won a title there. I actually won at novice too, and then I won at Bantam.
Oh, okay.
Was it hard at first coaching? Like, where did you get, I guess, your stuff? Did you have mentor? You were asking Andy or John Doerr? Like, how was it when you started coaching?
When I started, I just really relied on what I knew about the game. At that novice age, I think I played enough basketball and seen enough basketball where I can get by coaching at that level. The year after, when I reached Bantam, that's when I started to really study a little bit of the game. I wasn't that I didn't reach out to a lot of people, but just going to CJIP games, going to university games, watching, seeing what they're doing, obviously watching NBA, NCAA stuff, and sort of trying to develop my own style of coaching. Again, those are my only 2 years at Sun Youth, and then I got an offer to coach at Concordia right after.
I mean, that must have been very like a loop thing, at Concordia. So how is it now coming from the coaching side at Concordia, knowing that you played there, and all the history behind it? How was that at Concordia?
It's different. You come from playing at Concordia, being one of the Canadian powerhouses back then. That's what we were considered. We were always ranked in the top 5, whatever it be. But now coaching, you expect things that happen when you played, right? You expect that sense of urgency. You expect everyone to be talking. You expect everyone to be in the defensive side. You expect a high level of basketball, and as a player, transitioning into a coach, it's very difficult because you believe if you go out there, you can do the job yourself. And coaching, you really have to humble yourself, and you really have to understand that it's all a process. And what I thought, during my years, I still had a lot of bad habits coming in as a first-year kid, a second-year kid. There's a lot of things I had to learn and progress. So it's really just taking a step back and understanding, hey, my job is to teach these guys how to play, right? Teach these guys about life. Teach these guys about, understanding, communication, all these things. So it was really tough my first 2 years because I still had the player's mentality, and you really have to humble yourself and really understand what the coach is there for.
Yeah. All those like your resume speaks for itself. Being all Canadian, winning championships, being one of the top basketball players at the time that you were playing. What message do you have for these kids that are playing now that I guess are really good, because not everyone makes the NBA, right? Well, that's what everyone's aiming for, but not everyone makes it. What message do you have for them that if just because they're not in the NBA, like your story of success, you know, you've done a lot of things, you know, and you're not in the NBA. Do you have any things to tell the kids now that not to quit just because something didn't work out, to keep pushing through it?
Yeah. So basically what I would say is, basketball is a tool of life, right? And, you know, you never know where it'll bring you, but if you treat it right, if you have respect for it, if you work hard, there will be a spot for you in basketball. Might be coaching, might be recruiting, might be training, might be scouting. There's a lot of ways to stay involved with the game, and you never know. Like, who would have thought, you know, for me 10 years ago that I would be this coach and this trainer? I would never even think about it. And as a kid who growing up I didn't really get trained, you know, in the sense that I'm doing right now. There's a lot more opportunities and resources, especially here in Montreal and Canada. I think we're a hotbed in the world in terms of players coming out now. And, you know, if you work hard, you have dedication, something will come out of this if you just put your head to it.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
I see you on social media, you train kids, you train like the NBA prospect Kareem. But like you said, when you were young, you were not doing workouts. So like, are you like kind of surprised? And what you think? Is it pros and cons? Maybe back then people were just playing, no workout. And now I don't see a lot of people at the park, but they all work out and show video on Instagram. Like, what you think of that?
I think it has to be a balance of both. Absolutely. I think going out and playing is all good, but again, I think it's about the balance. You have to train your skills to be able to go and play in a game, in a 5-on-5 game. So whatever skill it may be, ball handling, passing, footwork, you want to train these things and go play. You cannot just train and not play, or just play and not train. So I think the kids now that have a good balance of training and playing are the ones that are seeing a lot of the success, and we can see it with a lot of youth programs around the city. You can see those programs that try to apply both are the ones that are seeing the most success with their student athletes.
And can you just mention you're a trainer now? And back then you never trained, like, you know, the skills, so it's like a big loop once again. How? So I know you have your own, I guess, a program going on called Uphill. Can you talk more about it and what's it about?
Yeah. So Uphill was sort of developed by me and my then partner Nathan Grant, who's a good friend, who's now coaching at University of Laval. We developed the program in 2017, and basically what we want to do is give resources to kids that need, you know, skill enhancement, skill development. And what we see with our community right now, our basketball community, is a lot of these kids play on teams, but they don't have the resources to get better, you know. And so we created this program where we can have kids come in, and we go through the process of, you know, getting better, whether it's ball handling, footwork, shooting. And the thing with myself and Coach Nathan is that we really study the game. We spend all our time studying the game. We're always on conference calls. We're always watching videos. We're always reaching out to other coaches, trainers around the world. So we felt that we had a good knowledge of how to enhance the skills of the kids in our community. So that's why we started the program.
Okay.
Are you guys building something? Because I saw on your social media or someone that something's coming and you guys building a gym. Like, I was curious.
Yeah. So I guess Paving the Way is going to get it first from me. I put a lot of little snippets out there, but yes, indeed, I'm part of a partnership with 2 other individuals. We're opening up a training facility. It's going to be called All Ball, Centre All Ball. It's in Dorval, close to the West Island. And basically, we're going to have between 7 and 9 hoops up there, all with shooting guns. We're going to have 2 half courts.
Wow.
We're going to have a recovery room, a lounge. It's going to be really one of these facilities that you always see on the Instagram videos with some of the trainers in the US. So we're definitely opening that up and bringing it to Montreal. And I'm super pumped for it. That we're able to pull this off in this time right now. And the community of Montreal is definitely behind me. And, we're going to see a lot of youth players in those gyms getting up shots, getting in training sessions, and just ultimately having the resources to improve their game.
Do you know around what time you guys are planning to open it up? Grand opening?
Grand opening, I guess pre-open will be probably September 1st.
Okay.
That's what we're aiming for. And then our grand opening will probably be the month after, October 1st.
Okay.
So it's just for everyone to keep up on our Instagram, Central Ball. Keep up on my IG, Coach_Dion, and you'll find out all the information about that.
Definitely. We'll definitely have your information below the description. I think it's really great what you guys are doing for the community, and it's a really big it's a big opportunity for the city of Montreal, especially for kids that want to go and enhance their basketball skills. I have a question. Is this strictly just going to be for basketball, or can like a football player come and do the weights or like other sports?
No, we're basketball facility.
Okay.
This is definitely for the city, for our community, our basketball community. We need something like this for our community, and it's definitely strictly basketball.
Okay.
Definitely strictly basketball.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about your pro-am? I know you guys like 3-4 years ago, you guys
Ballers
started
Echelon, yeah.
Yeah, Ballers Echelon. This would have been our 3rd year.
Third, okay.
Obviously, we can't play due to COVID. But yeah, again, that was just an idea from actually one of my younger brothers who said, why don't you guys start a league? And I remember when I used to play in the summers, we used to play in all these little tournaments, but it was always the same teams. It was always like Diamond Ballers with Ricky Volsi and Yule and Mark Danielle and those guys, and then you had our team, which was ADED, all day every day with myself, Dwayne, Nathan, Negus, Sheree Thomas. So, and we always had these battles. There was Dynamo, the Quebec City guys. So for me, that always felt like in the summertime there was always some pro-am league. There were always mini tournaments, but it was basically a pro-am league that we used to play in, and there used to be something called LBQ that I used to play in, and I thought those were fantastic for the cities, and for us, I didn't think there was a reason for us not to have something like this under any circumstances. So, that summer we just got our heads together. We started to reach out to some of the players because I was in the basketball community a bit more. I reached out to every single player individually. Started on Messenger, reach out to all the players. I said, yeah, I'm in. Reached out to Chris Joe. He was in. And then once some of those top players started to commit, everyone else just jumped on board. And, those games, we've seen some really high-level games with those guys. And, a lot of those guys are playing professional now. A lot of those guys are playing professionals. And it gives the youth sport guys and ex-Division I players a chance to play against some of the pro guys, and eventually, might land a deal playing, overseas somewhere, and it already has happened. So that was our vision for players to come and all come back to Montreal and put on for the city. Especially in front of the kids. It's good for the kids to really come out to those games and see where they could be if they work as hard.
Then so like you have the pro-am, you have the facility coming soon, and then you have your uphill going on. You're doing big stuff for the city of Montreal, and that's major props to you and I guess the people you're working with. You know, it takes a lot of it takes a really big positive community to, you know, get all these things going. And I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. You know.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess last question for me. How was the feeling of winning with Concordia as a coach 2 years ago and as a player? What was the difference and how was the feeling? Because we were talking to Negus and he won as a player, but he said it was also special winning as a coach. So how was it for you?
Yeah, I figured that you guys are going to ask me this question. My playing days, I was really excited to win. I didn't win a championship through my years at Vanier, so I went through Wager, Sun Youth, winning all my years, and then not winning for 3 years, actually 4 years, because my first year at university I did not win, and then winning that first championship was sweet for me. And then we lost again, and then we won our second championship. But for me, winning as a coach, I think was far sweeter. It was because, especially for me, like I always think there's some kind of target on my back or whoever's back. Like we came in, myself and Roscoe were young coaches. I actually played with Coach Roscoe for 1 year at Concordia, and we always feel like there's something against Concordia. That was my feeling, right? And everyone was against us. Like I'll give you a perfect example. We did not sign any AAA CJIP players in the past 2 years prior to that, right? So it was always AA players or third or fourth tier Ontario players that we got in. We worked with them for 2, 3, 4 years, and it really ultimately led to that championship. So when you look at guys like Adrian Armstrong, who played AA basketball at Vanier, who's one of the top shooters in U Sport that year, Ricardo Monge, who played for John Abbott, who was, you know, a subpar team back then, and no one ever thought that he would become the player he is, and he was MVP that year. So to me, that was the sweetest thing, to be able to help, you know, 15 to 18 individuals, you know, all be on the same page, all understanding the goal. And for me and Coach Roscoe and Coach Dwight and Coach Jay that were all there, it's basically the kids buying into our system, right? And that feeling is second to none. When you're winning a championship as a player, you just win. Like, yes, I won. I feel good about myself. Yes, I'm happy the team won. But here, you have all this joy, and then you see 15 to 18 players jumping around and you know, saying this is the best feeling in the world. That, I mean, as a coach, was to me the best ultimate feeling. 100%.
That's right. Oh, listen, your whole resume, like I said, speaks for itself in the basketball community. What you're doing is wonderful. It's really nice to see, you know, foreign players giving back to community and helping how the kids now are, you know, producing. So really good stuff you're doing. Right now we're gonna play a little game. We actually play 2 games. One will go Kenny's game first, and then mine.
All right.
Okay. Can you name me your top 5 player that you play with, like from point guard to center? If you want, you can put yourself in it, but you need to give me like top 5.
Point guard to center.
Yeah, point guard, string guard, small forward that you play with.
At any time in my career.
Yeah. Anytime that you play with.
Ooh. Okay, so I won't put myself in there. Okay, so point guard, for sure, unanimous, Pierre-Marie Cespedes.
Okay.
We played our last year together at Sun Youth. Fantastic battles in practice. So him at the 1. And this is who I played with, right?
Yeah.
At the 2, I would have to let's go with Damian Buckley, even though he's probably more of a 3, but I'll put him at the 2. At the 3, I would have to go with let's say Colson Sinnett, who I played with at Vanier, who went on to play at Robert Morris. At the 4, I have to go with. This is tough. Negus McKenna or Pat Perrott,
Okay.
right, side by side. And at center, I would have to go with Shrey Thomas,
Okay.
who I played with at Sun Youth.
And who's the coach?
Oh, wow. Oh, who's the coach? You know what? I'm going to go with Damian Buckley as the coach.
Okay. All right.
Damian Buckley. Let's keep it there. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, man. All right, so this game is called Start, Bench, Cut. So I'm going to give you three things, and you got to start one, bench one, and cut one. So one is winning your championship as a coach. You just said. One is being MVP, your Vanier year. And the third one would be winning your last year. Actually, you know what? Your third one is your Sun Youth days, playing that whole Sun Youth, or you going to Sun Youth, playing the whole time. Yeah.
Definitely cut is MVP. Just want to win more than it.
That was a big year. You're MVP. You have a lot of guys in the league. You know, you're the top.
Yeah, but again, the ultimate goal is to win.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely cut that. Bench, I would have to go with. Sun Youth days were good, boy. Bench, I'll have to go with Sun Youth days.
Ooh.
And start, I have to go with championship.
Championship coach.
Yeah.
I have a question going back. How were your days? Because you played on the Vanier team. You guys are really good teams. You're 3 years there, and you played on your Concordia team. Again, great players around. How were practices like during that time with all those great players?
Practices were good, competitive, but side note to that, not as competitive as Sun Youth.
Oh yeah,
right. Okay. Yeah, because I think when I played in those years, I really never. We always had great teams, but it was always myself at the point guard. There was never, no disrespect to anyone. There was never no one to really challenge me. Okay. At the point guard position in my years playing there. But at Sun Youth, it was just nonstop. It was just, Pierre-Marie Cespedes. It was Nathan Grant trying to guard me. My brother trying to, it was just ultra. It was just too ultra competitive, although I loved Vanier and Concordia, but it was more getting through, understanding the plays, understanding our defensive schemes, understanding a lot of different things. All that was good in learning the game. But when I'm talking competing, it was definitely, Sun Youth by far. Just,
and as a coach at Concordia, what do you look for in players that I guess would not want to play for you?
So this is a great question, because when we first started, we were very young coaches. It was all about talent. We want that 6'5" wing. We want, and we quickly realized that it's all about the kids that have a good work ethic, dedication, very coachable, very important. Because we had on our Concordia teams a lot of players that were very talented, that were all-star players in CJIP coming out, and just because of their lack of desire to be coachable, to work hard, to be gym rats, things like that, it didn't go hand in hand. And when you reach that level, there's guys just as talented as you, that are older than you, so there's a lot of other things other than talent. So I would definitely say coachability, hardworking, dedication for the game.
Okay. Last question for me. I saw a video, I think the day after that Vanier won, Carrie Many was, I guess, training with you the next morning or something. So I
No.
guess everybody was kind of surprised. So can you tell me a little bit about, I guess, him, like what the future holds for him and how it is to train him?
Well, because I'm on this platform, he doesn't like to be talked about, but I'll give you guys the goods. Kareem Mane is, for me personally, and being around the game and being around a lot of players in Montreal, the most dedicated player to the game. I mean, this kid, and the story about after he won the championship, it was that night. So I watched the game. He won the championship. You know, I let him enjoy with his family, with his teammates. You know, I walked to my car. As soon as I got in my car, boom, phone's ringing. Kareem Mane. Hey, yeah, congratulations. Yeah, you're gonna go out party with your friends. You know, enjoy yourself. Nah, is there a gym open? What gym are you talking about? Go party go have fun with your guys. No, I got to get to work. Missed a bunch of free throws. Just want to get into work. Made a few calls. Right, got a gym open. You know, met me there. Probably went from like 11:30 at night all the way to like 3 a.m. Just nonstop. It was myself. It was Kareem Mane. Berkey Reed was there. One of his good friends were there, and we just trained for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And that's the kind of approach he has. Ever since I started with Kareem Mane, everything's been sacrificed, not only with me but with him. Like I would wake up 5 a.m, go pick him up. We'll go shoot, we'll go train, and then he'll go to classes. So a lot of people don't know what's behind all the success behind Kareem Mane, and it's literally early mornings and late nights constantly. You know, so there's going to be big success for Kareem Mane. I don't see how it cannot be. This kid works so hard. He's only interested in getting better. Very, very humble, and sky's the limit for him.
All right, good. So during these times of COVID and everything, like, what are you doing to, I guess, stay focused and stay up and positive minded during these pandemic?
Well, for me, the number one was being able to really spend time with the family, because with like you guys mentioned a bunch of stuff I'm doing, coaching, recruiting, scouting, training. There's not much time at the household, and kudos to my wife. Everyone calls her Superwoman. I have 5 little kids running around here, and she's the one that holds down the household. So really during that time, it's just now I have time to wake up and actually stay home. Play games with my kids. Do homework. Just to really get to know my kids and spend time with the family. I think, especially for the first couple months, I really enjoyed that. And then, basically now I'm back at it. I've been, last month I was outdoors doing training sessions, obviously following the COVID-19 precautionary rules that are around. And now, I've been in a gym training again with the same thing for the past month. Just staying busy. I do Zoom trainings. I do, I have home calls for individuals. So again, very much busy. Just doing basketball. That's what I do for a living.
That's what's up.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, Damon, you've been very, very good to talk to. Learn about the grind. A lot of people, like you said, they think they don't see the glitz and glamour. All they see is the glitz and glamour, right? It was, the hype, and they don't know the work that it takes to get to the position you're in and the things that you're doing. You have balance in life and balance in basketball. So I really appreciate your time on here and talking to to everyone who's going to for sure tune in and hear this. I think it's a very good. You're a very good individual and of course basketball player. So I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Okay. Merci encore d'avoir accepté l'invitation. Il y a beaucoup de monde qui vont regarder l'interview puis qui vont être impressionnés par tout ce que tu as dit puis ils vont apprendre. So, merci encore.
Parfait, merci.
And for everyone listening, don't forget to subscribe. Once again, I'm Seth Amoa, aka SA.
I'm Kenny, aka KJL.
And please stay tuned for our next episode.